Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Time Keeping Show with Greg Anderson. And, well, you know, every now and then you got a battery that goes flat, as they say. I need to change this battery. And maybe you're the kind of guy who prefers to take your watch to a jeweler to have batteries changed, or maybe even send it into the factory for that kind of service. But I like to change the batteries myself if I can, and I really think this one is going to be easy enough to change. I've had this watch for, oh man, it's got to be at least 6 years. And this is the first time I've changed a battery on this particular one. So it's lasted a lot longer than they said it would, probably because I don't really use the backlight on this and I haven't used the alarm very much and things like that. So, but anyway, definitely needs a new battery now. So let's just get out the tools and see how to do this. Sometimes little pieces go rolling away, so I like to make sure I'm working in a nice area, and if I can, I'll put the watch on top of like this microfiber cloth. So if any little screws or anything kind of gets loose, it probably won't go very far. The one thing you do have to watch out for sometimes is the spring bar. Sometimes, you know, since they're spring loaded, they might go flying. But here's how I'm going to do this. Since it's a bracelet, I'm going to kind of release this spring bar on the bracelet a little bit to make it easier to work with it. And this is pretty easy. It just compresses there, and then I can open that up. And then here, all I need to do, there are 4 screws holding this back plate on. And so if I remove those, I should have easy access to the internals on this watch, and I should have pretty easy access to that battery too. Battery's held in there pretty well. Usually I can just kind of pry open one side of, there's a clip here that's kind of holding that in. So if I just sort of push the end of a pin there, I can usually kind of unclip this real quick. I might have to do this off camera just so I can see better. I'm trying to let the camera see as much of this as I can, but that doesn't necessarily mean I can see what I'm doing. So I was able to unclip that, and you can see how the battery is now kind of propped up there. Looks like there's a little bit of a sticker that's also stuck to that battery. So maybe I can just gently sort of coax that away. Every now and then I've said, well, I think I could just remove the sticker and never have to worry about leaving it there. But then sometimes it seems like it's important. But in this case, I think I can just kind of roll this out there, kind of release it from that sticker. And yeah, there's the old battery. So it's a 1620 battery. Some people would be horrified that I'm doing this without gloves on. You know, the oils from my fingers could really damage this, according to some folks. I just, you know, my hands are clean, and I'm just being very careful about what I'm touching in here. So I think I'll be fine. Also, you need to worry about, see, there's kind of this O-ring around here. Before I put everything back together, I want to make sure that O-ring is right back where it needs to be. But let me grab another 1620 size battery and replace that right now. Okay, basically just slides right in there, and now I'm going to carefully snap this back into place just like it was before with the other battery. Make sure it's just aligned with the position that it needs to stay in, and then I just kind of snap this back in. Okay, I've got that snapped back into where it needs to be, and the watch is running right now, but I still need to do what Casio recommends is an all clear. And the way it works on these Casio watches, there's a little spot in the back of this movement here where you can see the letters AC for all clear. What you're supposed to do is take something that conducts electricity, like a pin or maybe these tweezers or something like that. And what you want to do is you want to make a connection between the bottom of that spot where it says all clear and somewhere else on the metal that's right here next to it. So if I do that and just kind of tap that, a quick connection there, you can see that it has reset the movement back to 12 o'clock and it's started over again. So now I know I've done the all clear. I can see that this O-ring is where it needs to be, and I'm just going to place the watch back carefully right where it was before. And all I have to do now is replace the 4 screws that hold this watch back in position. And what I like to do here is just kind of get them all, get all the screws in there, but not to where they're tightening up at all. Just want to make sure they're all 4 in the right place. I haven't really tightened anything yet. Okay, but I know they're all there. They're all pretty much down where they need to be. Now I can go through and tighten them up. But again, they don't have to be super tight. We're talking about metal screws into a plastic case here. So I'm going to make them snug, but I'm not going to make them tight. You don't want to over tighten because you'll strip the screws or the case, and it doesn't really need to be super tight. Just nice and snug, comfortably snug. And okay, I'm satisfied that those screws are working correctly. Once again, just a visual to make sure the case back looks like it's in the right position. I don't see any gaps. It doesn't look like it's out of alignment. All I have to do now is replace this little spring bar, put that right back where it belongs, and put that back in the back of the clasp where it was before. Okay, looking good. And the watch has been running for a few minutes as I've been trying to get this set, but I'm not sure it's set to the right time zone. And if it's if it's set to Tokyo right now and it's trying to receive based on Tokyo, that's not going to work. So what I'm going to have to do right here is go into the adjustments here, and I'm going to see what time zone I'm set for. Okay, by default, I guess it goes to New York City. I'm going to set it back to the Denver time zone, which is where I am. And obviously it's wrong. It's the wrong time, the wrong date, the wrong year. So I can either wait and let this try by itself to set itself, or if I press this button here and hold this for a little bit, then it starts to blink right there on this little icon, which is supposed to look like some sort of radio receiver or satellite receiver. So right now it's not very good reception because I've got all this video gear set up, and I've got a monitor over here close by. So I'm getting a poor reception. But if I just take this to another room for a minute away from all this gear, then the LCD should show that entire kind of satellite dish looking thing. And if I let it go for a few minutes, it will probably set itself to the right time. I'm going to take it away and bring it back and show you how well it set itself. Oh, it's trying. It's really trying, but I think these lights are not helpful right here. All right, all I had to do was get it away from the spotlight, and it was able to set itself. Now it agrees with its friends again. Okay, so we're back in sync. I need to go through and reset some of the other settings like my alarm and some of my preferences there. But otherwise, that's how I did it. Got the watch up and running again. Now I can let it go for several more years before I have to worry about that. All right, that's all for now. But come on back, because remember, there will always be another episode of the Good Timekeeping Show.